Welcome to the Kendra Nicole Podcast, the podcast where we dive deep into the world of business and entrepreneurship, sprinkled with a touch of motherhood, chaos, and wisdom. I'm your host, Kendra James Anderson. With over 20 years of experience in the business arena and nearly a decade as a full-time entrepreneur, I've witnessed the ebbs and flows of the corporate world and the entrepreneurial landscape. But that's not all. I also navigate the beautiful chaos of being a wife and a mom to a lively toddler. So whether you're a seasoned entrepreneur looking for fresh ideas or just getting started on your entrepreneurial path, this podcast is your resource for valuable insights, motivation, and practical tips. So grab your notepads and let's embark on a journey to success. This is the Kendra Nicole Podcast, where business is our focus, but we also appreciate the beautiful mess of motherhood. Let's get started. Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Kendra Nicole Podcast. I am your host, Kendra Nicole, and today we're diving deep into the topic that's incredibly important for business women and corporate women who also happen to be moms. So today we are talking about the working woman's guide to networking. So whether you are balancing boardroom meetings or bedtime stories, this episode is tailor-made for you. So before we jump into the tips and strategies, let's talk about why networking is crucial for working moms. Of course, networking can open doors, it can spark collaborations, it can just provide invaluable support. It's also an essential tool for business. And as a relatively new mom of a 3-year-old toddler, I learned that it's also essential for motherhood as well. So I think when we typically hear about networking, we hear about it as far as business or like our corporate careers. What I've learned as a new mom is that you have to build your tribe. You have to build your community. And personally, I live in a city. We don't have any family nearby. Our closest relatives are hours away by car, and most are actually hours away by plane. We also had our son later in life. I was 37. So most of our friends either have older children or they don't have children at all. Carter was also born during the pandemic, during the height of the pandemic in 2020. So the idea of like meeting new moms at the park or in some mom and me class, it just wasn't a possibility for quite a while after he was born because the world was shut down. So it was rough. All of that together, it was very rough. But if you fast forward a couple of years later, I realized that mom friends and that community, the mom community, it doesn't just fall in your lap. So just like business relationships and partnerships and clients, these things typically don't just land perfectly prepared in your lap, ripe and ready to go. There is some proactive networking that's involved. So today, I'll share some online networking strategies and some offline networking strategies. And let's start with online, because today in this digital age, this has become more important than ever. So here are some strategies to help you network effectively online while managing and maintaining your busy schedule. So for one, from a business standpoint, I recommend leveraging LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is a great resource, obviously, for professional connections. You can optimize your profile. You can join these relevant groups. You can really start to engage in meaningful conversations within your industry. Personally, I'd like to leverage LinkedIn more in 2024, but with so much going on right now with the release of our new tax strategy business, more to come on that. LinkedIn, it just isn't the highest priority for me right now, but definitely consider it for yourself if it makes sense for you. The second online activity is virtual events. So this can work for business or personal. You can attend webinars, virtual conferences, industry-specific events. It's really a great way to network from the comfort of your home. And with virtual events, you really want to make sure that you follow up with the people that you meet. So send them an email or a message. This way that the relationship doesn't fizzle out, which tends to happen in conferences. You're there at this event, you're all hyped up, especially even in person as well. But then you go your separate ways and they fizzle out. So particularly with online events, you want to make sure that you maintain that relationship pretty quick after the event happens. And I'll throw this out there too. For any moms that are out there, my league Till, you guys know I talk about my league all the time. She has an excellent mom group. And this mom group has virtual events and meetups from time to time, as well as in person. And it's just a great resource to find other moms and create relationships. I'm sure I'm going to mention that group more because when I talk networking for business and especially for personal as a new mom, my leads group has been essential there. So a third online activity is to have a social media presence. So this can help you from business or personal as well. So maintain a presence on platforms like Instagram or Twitter or X, I guess is what it's called now these days. But whether it's business or personal, I think the key here is to really engage. So you want to comment, you want to DM, you want to engage to keep that relationship alive. And you never know, maybe one day that relationship will make it offline. But regardless, you want to make sure that there's some engagement happening there. And then the fourth online strategy is to join online forums and communities. So this is an excellent way to exchange ideas and experiences with like-minded people. So again, I'll mention it for the moms out there. Check out My Leaks Mom Group. Head over to My Leaks Instagram page. I'm sure it's linked there. So personal story, my wife and I were considering a move to the DMV area, which may now be the Charlotte area. We're still figuring that all out. But I took a trip to the DMV to scope out the area, check out neighborhood schools, things like that. And I actually met dozens of moms in the area simply by being a part of My Leaks Mom Group. And I attended an in-person group that she had there and that she hosted. It was fabulous. And I now have this built-in group of moms there that have helped me research neighborhoods, research school districts, research pediatricians and barbers. It's brilliant. So definitely check that out. So now let's explore some offline networking activities. And some offline networking strategies. So I do personally believe that in-person connections, they really solidify a connection even faster and even deeper than online. So definitely don't underestimate the power of an in-person interaction. So here are a few strategies. The first one is to attend local networking groups. So seek out something local. For personal, this can be using apps like Meetup to find local mom groups. On the business side, you can join business groups. You can check out the Chamber of Commerce or other professional associations in your area. And then the kicker is to actually attend their meetings and events. The second thing is to attend a business event and conference. So, of course, in business, there are these industry-specific events and conferences, and those can be a gold mine for networking. It's not only like-minded people, but it's like-minded people in a similar field. So there can be a lot of synergies there. The third idea is one of my favorites. It's lunch and coffee meetings. So these one-on-one conversations can lead to meaningful connections. I've scheduled lunch or coffee meetings with friends, potential friends, colleagues, mentors, potential collaborators, industry connections. It's really an easy way for both parties to ease their way into learning more about the other person, to check their vibe, to fill out if they want to take that relationship further. So I love a good lunch date or a good coffee date. Then the fourth idea is specifically for moms, which is mom-specific events. So here in Dallas, I have a small mom group, most of which came from the My League Mom group that I've mentioned, and we've done some mom outings. So there have been times where just us moms got together for a drink or for dinner. There have been times when us moms have brought the kiddos and did some activities together. So it's super important to connect with fellow working moms because they understand the unique challenges that you face, and they can really offer some valuable support and some great advice. So obviously, balancing work, motherhood, and networking, it can be a little bit of a challenge. So I also want to throw in some time management and self-care tips to help you really thrive during this season. So the first one is prioritizing your goals. So when it comes to networking, you want to identify your networking goals and then prioritize them. So focus on quality connections rather than quantity. And I remember a while ago, I was talking to my therapist and mentioning my need to have more mom friends. And she simply looked at me and was like, "Are you making it a priority? What are you doing to find mom friends?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah, I guess I do have to actually do something. I have to act." So I made it a point to put myself out there. And as an introvert And as an introvert that really loves the comfort of her home, initially it took some getting out of my comfort zone, but it was all worth it for sure. The second tip is time blocking. So you want to allocate specific time blocks for networking activities in your schedule. So treat it as you would any other work commitment. So this could be scheduling something as short as 15 minutes every few days to engage in that online group that you've joined, or blocking one Saturday a month to join some sort of in-person activity. But if you're anything like me, if it doesn't make it on the calendar, and if there isn't time on the calendar like designated for it, then it's not happening. So time block, put something on your calendar. And then the third tip is to delegate and outsource. So don't hesitate to delegate tasks and outsource when possible. This really frees up time for networking and time for self-care. And when I say delegate and outsource, I mean for business and for personal. So in business, obviously this could be hiring a virtual assistant to tackle some low-hanging fruit in your business, like maybe calendar control or sending out of invoices or some client relation type things. And for personal, this could mean outsourcing things like meal prep for a local chef, or outsourcing the deep cleaning of your home to some sort of a cleaning crew. And I understand that everyone cannot do this financially, but if you are able to, I highly recommend it. And then the fourth tip, self-care. Yes, I know it's a current buzzword at the moment, but the key is to really find out what self-care means to you. So it could be reading a book, rollerblading, or yes, a spa day. But just remember to take care of yourself. Self-care really is essential for maintaining your energy, for maintaining your enthusiasm for both work and for family. So as I wrap up this episode, I want to remind you that networking as a working mom is not only possible, but it's incredibly rewarding. It's important to build a strong professional network and also a very strong personal network, because both will help you grow in business while nurturing yourself and your family. So thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Kendra Nicole Podcast. If you found this episode helpful, please subscribe, please leave a review, and share it with other working moms who could benefit from these tips. And also just remember that you're not alone on this journey. So let's network, let's get out there, and together we can achieve some amazing things. Until next time, keep networking, keep thriving, keep being the incredible working mom that you are. This is Kendra Nicole signing off. Take care. Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Kendra Nicole Podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, please consider subscribing or leaving a review. Also, share it with a friend that might find it valuable. Stay tuned for our next episode where we'll chat about more exciting topics and feature some amazing guests. And until then, keep focusing on peace and profit. This is the Kendra Nicole Podcast signing off. Take care, and I'll catch you in the next episode.